Anime sequels. Love them or hate them, they're everywhere. Whether they be a continuation in the form of a new anime season or a new title entirely, sequels to anime are about as common as sequels to Hollywood films. But some do it better than others, and today I'm looking at the sequels to anime that were worse than what came before it. This is how to ruin an anime sequel. Gundam Seed Destiny is the 2005 sequel to the popular anime Gundam Seed, and much like its predecessor, Gundam Seed Destiny was also a very popular series in Japan. But just because something is popular doesn't mean that it's universally good. Hell, the Twilight movies were popular despite the reception it got, and now it's mostly forgotten about. And one look online will tell you that the reception in the rest of the world doesn't match the same reception as Japan for the series, myself included. So what made Gundam Seed Destiny fail as a sequel, especially given how popular the original series was? Well, I think part of the reason is because of the popularity. Like I said, a lot of people in Japan really loved the series, even to the point where the toys sold like mad. Hell, even the recap films, aka the special editions, sold really well in Japan. So with all the success, the studio likely did with a sequel. Make a few alterations, reuse the story and character plots, and call it a sequel. I kid you not, a lot of the story this time around feels recycled from Seed with maybe slight changes here or there. We have our antagonist stealing mobile suits from the good guys, just like in the first episode of Seed. One of our main antagonists is related to Al Deflaga, just like in Seed, only it's the son and not a clone this time.
Really, nigga?
There's a major incident that kills a lot of people, just like Seed with both the Alaska incident and the Bloody Valentine's War. A friend of Kira's rival is killed by Kira, and Kira's rival is pissed by this, just like in Seed, where a friend of Kira's rival Nicole was killed by Kira, and Kira's rival is pissed. Kira's rival kills Kira, except not really, because Kira somehow survives, just like in Seed. Lacus gives Kira a new Gundam that's better than before, just like in Seed, and the list goes on. I understand that a lot of sequels will occasionally have a similar plot idea as what came before, and some of those work out pretty well, but the problem here is that not only does the plot feel too similar to the point of it being a lazy rehash, but as I just showed, a lot of the plot points and actions also feel too similar to the point where it makes me feel like I'm just watching Seed again instead of a sequel to Seed. And if I'm just getting Seed again but with worse writing and characters, why the hell should I watch this when I could just pop in Gundam Seed instead? This show had a great chance to improve on the story and characters, give them new challenges instead of facing the same challenges again. Hell, maybe improve on some of the things some people didn't like as much, like the writing of the romance and the reused animation at points. But instead, they doubled down on the negatives and recollected on the past instead of moving forward with these characters. Hell, one of the big issues with the character element in Seed Destiny is that the older characters overshadow the new characters as time goes on. Now, you might think this is the only problem I have with Destiny, given how much I focused on it, but this issue ties into other problems I have with this sequel. For instance, the characters. Since a lot of the plot points and actions are too similar to Seed, that means the characters involved in said actions / plot points from Gundam Seed are repeating them for the most part in Destiny. Instead of showing growth, this series is implying through its actions that they haven't grown by much, if at all. Sure, characters like Kigali get new positions, but that doesn't mean much when they have barely shown much growth outside of that. And again, the new guy's been given more focus instead of giving a lot of it to the older characters as time went on. Maybe characters like Shin could have been a lot better because, oh boy, Shin was wasted potential in the series. Shin started off as an annoying character, and despite having 50 episodes, he barely got much development as a character. He started off as an angry, emotional, hot-headed teen, albeit for good reason due to the loss of his family, but by the time he got this development, it was in the final 10 or so episodes of the series, and by that point the story was about to enter the climax / main part of the war. Sure, it's still development, but I think this development should have been placed at an earlier point in the story and not in the final stretch of the series. Even ignoring that, his personality and attitude got on my nerves really quick in the early episodes, and that problem still persisted even after Kira became the main focus of the series again. Hell, I could say the same thing with the other new characters introduced in Destiny. They really weren't all that interesting, and I could barely muster a lot of empathy for them when shit went down with them. Except for one. There was one somewhat new character that really pissed me off while watching this show. Not because they're a villain, not in a love-to-hate kind of way, but genuine annoyance. That character is Neo Roanoke, aka Mu La Flaga. 5 Bucks says I butchered that in pronunciation, I don't fucking care. Out of all the characters Destiny decided to bring in, this was one of the worst. So for those who don't know, Mu died in the last couple episodes of Seed in a heroic sacrifice to protect his comrades in love from a powerful blast from the enemy's ship. It was sad, it was heroic, and it was a final hurrah to a character the audience has seen since the beginning of the show. Then the creators came along and decided, yo, screw casualties of war and heroic sacrifice, let's bring him back and make him into Neo Roanoke for a bit of the series, then have him be an amnesiac after he got captured by the good guys until near the end of the series when he conveniently gets his memories back after saving our heroes from powerful blasts because we wanted to give Maru a happy end. Look, I liked Mu in the original series, but I was fine with his death. Now sure, they retconned his death in the special edition / recap films to basically say he was assumed dead, allowing him to come back in Destiny, but this was still stupid of them to have a guy make a heroic sacrifice, then puss out and decide to bring him back later on. What also doesn't help is that Neil is also a really flat bad guy in this show, and when he's unmasked and all that jazz, he doesn't really have much to do from that point onwards until getting his memories back, so it just makes you further wonder the point of reviving him if you weren't going to do much of them for a majority of the series. But I digress. So as you can tell, I think the characters and story were handled incredibly poorly. But is there anything else I disliked about this sequel? Yes, the animation. Now, one of the big issues I had with Seed was its reused animation. Not only would they constantly reuse it in fight scenes, but the show was filled with a lot of flashbacks to the point where I began to wonder if they did this to save on cost due to a low budget or something. So you'd think with Seed becoming popular and selling really well, the studio would use the likely increased budget to fix this issue, right? Nope. Destiny is just as guilty of reusing animation as its predecessor, even to the point where it reuses shots from the original series. Seriously? How lazy can you get? Look, I understand the difficulties of animating something. Believe me, I get the frustration. But when I see a show reuse its animation this much, I'm going to complain about it because it starts to become noticeable after a while, and it certainly doesn't paint a good picture on the animation quality as a whole. Sure, the coloring and character models as well as the backgrounds are fine, but those were the only few things that I liked about the animation. And sure, the music was great, but that's really all the show has going for it in my opinion. Overall, I believe Gundam Seed Destiny fails as a sequel to Gundam Seed due to its reused plot points and actions that makes it feel more like a retelling of Gundam Seed instead of an actual continuation. Barely any growth for our characters or worsening the characters that appeared in Gundam Seed, terrible execution of the few new ideas introduced, and way too much reused animation and stock footage, which results in dragging down the animation quality by a lot. Again, I understand the popularity of the series, and this show clearly still has an audience that supports it even today. But as a sequel, I think Gundam Seed Destiny could have been a lot better than what we got in the end. Oh well. At least Stargazer looks promising. So that concludes my little test pilot for something I've been meaning to try out for a while. Did you enjoy the video? Did you hate it? Do you want me to do more of this with other bad anime sequels? Let me know in the comments below and I'll see if this little project is worth continuing or not. So yeah, on the right is my disclaimer telling you that links to the assets used as well as the music used are in the description, and it also answers some possible questions for new viewers. And on the left is my previous video and a playlist that has all the episodes of my series The Maddie Presents, where I review animated films and series every once in a while. Anyways, that's all I got for this narration, so thank you all for watching and take care.